Hi everyone. We're going to evaluate NJ. It's a combination formula, and this is the formula for it. It's n factorial over j factorial times n minus j factorial. So on your calculator, it shows it as this. The problem with overusing the calculator on this is that it sometimes takes longer than if you would just look at it and use this formula. And this is going to come in handy knowing the longer way on it, or the non-calculator way, when you're doing the binomial expansions and finding specific terms in a binomial expansion. So what we're going to do is evaluate this, and this is basically 5 factorial over 3 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial, which is 2 factorial. And always in this one, these two numbers, 3 plus 2 is 5. And when you write out factorial, you'd write out 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 3 times 2 times 1 times what? 2 times 1. And what happens is these cancel out, and so basically you get 20 over 2, which equals 10. So the best way to do it is not the way I just did it, though. Since if you notice these two canceled out, what I'm going to do is go ahead and erase this to save some time. And what you should do is write it as, go to your highest ones. You're going to write 5 times 4. My highest number here is 3 factorial. So just write 3 factorial. And then we're going to write 3 factorial. And then just write 2 times 1. These cancel out. And 2 factorial is just 2 times 1, so I'll leave it like that. And you get 20 over 2, which equals 10. And sometimes that's a lot faster than trying to do it in the calculator. So let's look at this one. We have 7 factorial over 3 factorial. And since these two numbers have to add up, this is going to be 4 factorial. And how I'm going to write this out is 7 times 6 times 5 times, and I'm going to stop at my bigger number, which is 4 factorial. And then I'm going to go ahead and write this one out. 3 times 2 times 1 times 4 factorial. In this manner, these two just cancel out. This is 6, and we just get 35. Okay? The next one we have is this one. So this is going to be 7 factorial over 5 factorial, and then the next number has to be 2. So all I'm going to do is write this out as 7 times 6 times 5 factorial, because this is my bigger number. I can go ahead and write it on this side if I want. And this is just 2 times 1. So basically these two cancel out. 2 goes into 6 3 times, so we get 21. It's pretty fast. And this one, we have 9 factorial over 7 factorial. So this is going to be 2 factorial. And we're going to get 9 times 8 times 7 factorial, because that's my bigger number. Write that there. And 2 factorial is just 2 times 1, which is just 2. That cancels. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So 9 times 4 is 36. And now we have these kind. And this is the kind you definitely don't want to put in the calculator. So basically this would be 50 factorial over 49 factorial times 1 factorial. And this is just going to be 50 times 49 factorial over 49 factorial times 1. So my answer is just 50. And this one, it's going to be 1,000 factorial over 1,000 factorial times 0 factorial. 0 factorial equals 1, just as it's very similar to the fact that a to the 0 equals 1. So basically, you're going to get this just equals 1, because that's 1 and that cancels. And the last one we're going to have 1,000 factorial over 0 factorial times 1,000 factorial. And this cancels out. We know this is 1, so that equals 1. Now, some of the useful formulas you need to know so you're not always having to go in the calculator is that n0, just like we had here, equals 1. So you're not constantly having to go to the calculator and write this out. Okay, n1, which is the one we had with the 51, if you had that, that's going to equal n. So in this case, that would equal 50. The other one is, I think, the one we actually had, n, and then we had n minus 1. That also equals n. This would be 49 that we did. So this one is also 50. Both of these are the same, because you're just switching around your j and your n minus j factorial. And the other one is n, and that also equals 1. And that's like we had the 1,000 over 1,000. Okay, because they were the same. So this one would have been here, and we got 1. And on the previous slide, we had 1,000, 1,000. All right. Now, as far as the calculator goes, this is a certain notation we use. We also could be using the notation as C 4, 2, and which is the same as 4C2. It's a combination. And that would be what we've been doing is 4, 2, which would be 4 factorial over 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So depending on what calculator you have, if you want to put this in what would this be? This would be 4 times 3 times 2 factorial over 2 factorial times 2. And 2 goes into 4 2 times. This equals 6. So to put this in the calculator, you would, depending on which kind you have, I'm just going to tell you where it's at. You go to Math, then you go to Prob, and then it's number 3. If you have the fancy one, you can just type in 4 and 2. If you have the older versions, you would first have to type in 4, then Math, Prob, and then you do hit number 3, and then you would type in 2. And both of these would give you 6. Okay? That's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.